Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi's here, and it's Thursday, and we're doing the Thursday Think Tank call-in show. And yeah, so the phone line is open. If you have access to the Discord server or the Facebook group for this channel, you can get the phone number digits there, and anybody is welcome to call that has access to those numbers. So yeah, if you want to call, the phone line is open today. We're taking uh, opinions over the phone line. So yeah, give me a call on the Thursday Think Tank. I'd love for people to call me today. So yeah, today I wanted to talk about the draft and the person that has been number one on my list for the Raptors to target in the draft from where their position is in the draft right now before the lottery. We'll have to see what the lottery does. That may change things. But right now, I really like the Duke center, 7'2" from Senegal, Khaman Maluach. I watched even more highlights of him yesterday and got more accustomed to understanding him and kind of what his life's path is. He once again is another African kid who kind of got discovered by accident. Apparently, he was just walking down the street one day and he was super tall, and a guy was riding by on a motorcycle and said, "You should play basketball." And that's how he started playing basketball. It's just some dude who was riding around on a motorcycle, and he rode by and he said, "Whoa, double take. Whoa, wait a second. Look at this kid. Look how big that guy is right now. Seriously." So he came and talked to him. He said, "You should strongly consider playing basketball because you are a very tall person." And that's kind of how Common started playing basketball. He's not a polished player. He is somebody who came to it late in life. Like, he was already a teenager, I think, when he started playing basketball. So he's only been playing basketball about 5 years, guys, 5 or 6 years already now at 18. And he had 3 years the Basketball Africa League. And the first 2 years, he was a bit player that didn't score a lot and kind of just was getting his legs under him and kind of learning basketball more and more. But in his third year in the Basketball Africa League, he exploded and averaged about 18 points and like 14 rebounds a game. So something happened, something switched, something clicked, where all of a sudden he was like, okay, I'm starting to figure this out a little bit better. And right after that season, he came over to the United States and played for Duke. And he played the 1 year this year for the Duke Blue Devils. And while it's very much in the media, in the spotlight, you could see Khaman Maluach all season long because Duke is high profile. And, during the regular season, you could see him playing alongside Cooper Flagg and Con Canupel. And then, the postseason in the March Madness, of course, he figured very prominently there. My opinions of Common are you can't teach size. You can't teach size. You can't teach wingspan. You can't teach raw athletic potential and talent. And this kid has all that. Now, I will say this. Watching him yesterday, I realized something, that a lot of his offense on the Duke Blue Devils this year, some of it was very much oriented around little bunny hop alley-oops. Cooper Flagg's a very, very, very talented passer, and he loves lobbing to Maluach. And that was a lot of the shots on some of the highlights for the tournament was Maluach just kind of doing a little bunny hop, like dunks and alley-oops, catching and throwing it down. A lot of those will not work in the NBA. This is what I have to say right now. The way that they were lobbing to Common on Duke this year is not going to work in the NBA. He's not going to be able to do it this way. Exactly. In some ways, the thing about Maluach is he's going to have to get better with his offense as far as shooting, hook shots, pump fakes, kind of faking out defenders and going around them and putting the ball up and over them. He's not going to get easy dunks like he did when he played for Duke in the NBA. And that is one of my biggest concerns with him, is that some of his offense is not going to translate to the big league. And I feel like a lot of the lob stuff that he was doing is not. Now, the good thing is that he does have a shooter's touch and that he can shoot the three. I've seen a very nice flick to his wrist on the three-point shot. And then also there's a lot of potential with him around the basket with hooks and post moves, that he could get a pretty good offensive game around there. But I will tell Raptors fans and people that are interested in drafting Khaman Maluach in the draft that he is an offensive project. he will be able to contribute defensively right away for sure. And one of the things I really like about him is he has a strength of timing, that he really understands anticipation and understanding when a shooter is going to come near the basket, when to time his block shot. And he's very good with this. In fact, he's a good face on face shot blocker. He's a good from behind them shot blocker. He's a good from coming the side shot blocker. He's got good timing and anticipation to block shots. He'll be able to do that right away. Of course, he'll be able to get some rebounds also, having such a long wingspan. But get in there battling to get position and finding rebounds. It's going to be something he's going to be okay with too. But yeah, he's going to have to learn defensive positioning, defensive intelligence, and working in cohesion with his teammates in the NBA. And then the offensive stuff, well, like I said, he's going to be a project on offense for a few years, honestly. You know, him and Shamshe are similar in this. Shamshe has a lot of offensive potential himself, but in some ways he needs time to polish it and be a project on the NBA level. I know that Khaman and Ulrich are best friends. They know each other very well. And that's another added bonus if we do draft Maluach, that he will be coming into a friendly place with a friend already here that he knows from Basketball Africa League. And also Masai, obviously, has probably been in contact with Khaman and is very familiar with him also. I think the trend of Ujiri and Bobby Webster getting Africans to our team is going to continue. And that's why I think it's very, very likely that if we are going to be drafting around 7, 6, 7, somewhere there, 6, 7, or 8, that Maluach will be very high on our draft board. So what do you guys think of Khaman? I want to hear y'all's opinions on Khaman Maluach today and how you feel about the fit is with him on the Raptors. Now, I would say this. Do you think that, do you have any kind of worries about him? Do you feel like maybe he's too good to be true? Do you feel like, I would be taking him in a heartbeat? I just want to hear anything y'all have to say about Khaman. And I'm saying, I'm going to put a poll right now. Would you like the Raptors to draft Khaman Maluach? Maluach. All right, there we go. We're going to make it a very simple poll for today, and we'll see how it runs for the whole entirety of the stream and seeing this. Oh, I did the poll again with Trevor's words of wisdom covered up. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, it says something about separate yourself, keep going. I should have read that first. I always screw that up. Don't do the poll before you read the first comment, Lex. Damn it. Thank you, Trevor J, for your words of wisdom and all you do for the channel as a commissioner of fun. I want to tell y'all, I went through the classic card box just to get duplicates out because I felt like I was running into too many duplicates. So I kind of tried to get duplicates out. And I went through the whole entire box. And you know what? I only found 4 Raptors cards in the whole entire thing. 2 of them we've already gotten. There were big Chris Bosh cards that were in there. But there's 2 Raptors cards out of that whole entire big, huge box. There was only 2 Raptors team cards out of like 1,000 cards. Isn't that crazy? I feel like they're not putting any Raptors cards in here. It's not like the Raptors haven't been around for 30 years, and there could be cards from the 90s with Raptors on it. And where are the cards from the 2000s of the Raptors in these classic cards? I'm wondering about that. I feel like they took them out, Trevor, because there's not a fair amount of – in fact, now that I think about it, there's no Vancouver Grizzlies cards in there either. It's like they didn't put any of the Canadian cards in these classic card boxes. It's kind of annoying. There are 2 Raptor cards, though, that could become classic cards in the future that are in the classic card box still. I left them in there. So we may get a surprise, a Raptor at some point. But there's only – I couldn't believe that. Out of 1,000 cards in there, there's only 4 team Raptor cards. That's crazy, man. That's not right. Get it right, classic card, cosmic card people. Y'all need to put more Raptors cards in there. We want Raptors cards. Y'all shorten us on this, man. It's crazy. Crazy. Trevor's saying that OKC mopped the floor with the Nuggets last night, the most points in a half in NBA playoff history, 87 points. You know, I was right. I said this the day after Denver stole the first game, that SGA is going to do some soul searching and he's going to come back and be pretty pissed off. And well, that's a crazy drubbing. That's insane. 149 to 106. And yeah, it's insane. It's a crazy game. And apparently, as Fiercely was saying in the chat, that Nikola Jokic fouled out in the third quarter. That's crazy. He didn't even want to be out there. So Scott Foster and Malloy refereed a rout last night, a straight up rout. 34 points for SGA on 11 of 13 shooting, 11 of 11 from the free throw line, 8 assists. Holy crap. He was a plus 51. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the MVP of this league. I think that he needed to send that message, and that's what he did last night. Is like, y'all maybe like, okay, they have championship pedigree. They won already. They're this, they're that. Yeah, SGA had to show everybody, look, I'm going to get a plus 51 game. That's insane, man. That is so crazy. They really took it out on them. They really took it out on them, and I applaud them. Good job, Thunder. In some ways, this will really get in their heads. Like this isn't even close. And if I'm the Nuggets, man, I'm worried, man. Y'all, it's so funny, man. Good job, Thunder. I'm really happy about this. Seriously. Trevor's saying first time in NBA playoff history, home team down 0-2 at home. Yeah, I mean, I guess this has happened in 2 series now. No, it just happened in the 1 series, right? No, it's happened in 2 series. Both the Eastern Conference playoffs right now are 0-2 for the home team. Cleveland's down 0-2 to Indiana, and Boston is now down 0-2 to New York inexplicably. The Knicks fans are celebrating because 2 games against Boston, they've won both of them in Boston last night by 1 point. And both the games, the Celtics had a 20-point lead at some point during the game. And somehow, some way, the Knicks come back and kick their ass in the fourth quarter. Now, Keeks of TSN Stats, Karthika, she posted this stat a long time ago during the season about Boston and their Achilles heel. And it's basically the fourth quarter. That there's been a trend all season long where the Boston Celtics just kind of take the rest of the game off and they're not as good in the fourth and they can get overtaken and beaten in the fourth quarter. Well, Tom Thibodeau and the Knicks knew this, Jalen Brunson, those guys, and they kicked some butt and made up the deficit in the fourth and won by 1 point. And the Boston Celtics fans are reeling. The defending champions are down 0-2 and lost both games at home. And now it's looking real nice for New York to eliminate the defending champion Boston Celtics. The big key player last night was Mitchell Robinson, guys. Mitchell Robinson was injured for a while for the Knicks in the last couple of years. And he's kind of been like one of these weird players where I thought he was going to be like DiVincenzo and Randall, and he was going to get sent out because they were talking about how they got to trade Mitchell, but they didn't. And in some ways, it really paid off that they still had Mitchell Robinson last night. Like, seriously, you don't do what you did last night without Mitchell Robinson. I'm telling you right now. And OG was not super good last night. In fact, OG was kind of last night. So it's like OG's still OG from Toronto. I don't know why everybody thinks OG's some special magical OG now that he's on New York. OG's the same. He's going to have a huge game where he scores like 29 points. And then he's going to have a game where he doesn't even score 10. That's the same shit he was doing for us. So it's like, once again, the thing with OG is much like Scott, their defense first. They care about getting defensive stuff done first, and the offense stuff comes later. But yeah, OG is OG still. I don't see why, like, some people are trying to tell me, oh, OG's so much better on the Knicks. I don't believe that shit. In some ways, OG is the same player. It's just he's getting more of a spotlight, and that's why everybody sees it now. But a lot of what OG was doing on the Raptors the last year or so is the same thing he's doing right now. He had a 40-point game for the Raptors. He kicked so much ass in some of the games in the last year of being on the Raptors. So everybody's acting like OG just turned into a completely different player. Well, last night's proof that it's not true. He can be just as inconsistent and not show up offensively like he did last night. That's just what I'm going to say on that right there. Yeah, Trevor's saying the Knicks stunned the Celtics with a second straight double-digit comeback win. Yeah. I mean, Celtics. I knew y'all were pretenders. I mean, listen, the Raptors beat y'all this season, and I knew y'all were soft in some ways. I think that in some ways, as much as it's so impressive and overpowering how many threes you take, it's also your biggest problem too. because you live and die on the three. Well, those threes are going to run dry someday. And they have in the last 2 games for them against the Knicks. And well, you get what you get. You want to live and die by the three, you will die by the three eventually. And this is what's happening to them right now. Now they got to go to New York, but I could see some funky stuff where referees going to do weird stuff, and all of a sudden the home team's going to lose all the games, and it's going to be even at game 4. Watch. I said this right now. I could see them screwing over the Knicks in Madison Square Garden 2 games in a row to even the series, to make it really exciting for game 5. I could see this, seriously. So we'll have to see how it goes down. James is saying Khaman, Maluach, Carter Bryant, and Asa Newell in that order. You like Carter Bryant? I don't even know if I've looked at Carter Bryant. Who is Carter Bryant? Let me go look at this guy. He's not really been talked about a whole lot, right? At the top of the draft, Carter Bryant. He's from Arizona. Okay, let's see what's up with him on the wiki. He's a small forward, power forward. He's 6'8". He's from Riverside, California. He's 19 years old, 220 pounds. He's a McDonald's All-American. Okay, his father played college basketball at Long Beach State. Interesting. Carter Bryant, small forward, power forward. Where is he getting projected to be in the draft? That's what I'm going to do a scout. You didn't even ask for it, but I'm going to look at him because I'm curious, because I don't think I've scouted this player yet. This is somebody that you guys did not ask me to look at yet. So let's go look at Carter Bryant and his highlights on the YouTube real quick and see what's up. This is his tournament highlights. Okay. All right, let's see who this guy is. Carter Bryant. That's a block. He's got some nice hops. He's got a nice vertical leap. Yeah, that's pretty good timing. He's got nice long arms too. Looks like he's a pretty strong guy. So let's see here. These are defensive plays they're showing. They're not really showing offensive plays. Wow, another big block. So he's a good shot blocker. You know, they say he's a small forward, but he looks like a straight up power forward to me. But maybe he's quick. There's a nice little transition dunk. He gets the block and he runs back the other way, and they reward him with the dunk. That's always good stuff. Give the big man that got that block, give him a dunk. There you go. Of course, this defense for this other team is really bad. Like, are they even playing Akron? This was in the tournament. These guys were good enough to get in the tournament, and they're not even playing any defense. What is this crap? So there's an outside shot by Bryant. He's not related to Kobe, is he? In any kind of way? It would have said something on his Wikipedia. Yeah, there's a corner 3. He's got a nice stroke. He missed it, but he followed his own shot and threw it down. He's got a pretty nice follow through and a pretty nice shot from what I can see. I don't know. It's weird because they list him as a forward either position. Wow, that's a crazy block. He came from behind and blocked them. Yeah, and he got it right when he was releasing it, so he didn't hit him on the hand. That's pretty impressive in some ways. Yeah, he's all right. He's all right. I think he's not big enough for what I really want for the Raptors, but he's a great athlete, and I can see he's a very good defender. So that in some ways I like that. I like that about him. So I don't know. Carter Bryant, okay. Not bad, not bad. I don't know. I still like Derek Queen better than him. As far as like the offensive potential for Derek Queen is very, very interesting. Thank you, James, for being here. Y'all want to do a scout on James's WNBA team today, guys? Let me go get James's team for you guys, and you can Trevor and G, you can tell me how you feel about James's team. You know, let me get I wish there was an easier way to show you guys the team without like the copy paste thing that I go through to do this. It's so crazy. All right, let me see. Come on, be helpful here. You screwy stuff here. All right, come on, right to there. Okay, copy and paste into the chat. Paste, and of course I have to take a bunch of it away so that it will post. Why is it not doing that? All right, sorry about this always seems to be the problem, is that it doesn't want to paste right. Why are you not doing this? Okay, there we go. Cut, post, paste. Cut, paste. Yeah, so I hope everybody's having a good day. If you can, just give me a call on the phone number. We're gonna do the call in, and I'd love to hear people's opinions about Khaman, as far as like how you feel about his fit on the Raptors. I know most of us are in agreement that we like him. All right, there, that should work. There's the post for that's James's WNBA fantasy team that he drafted on Sunday. So y'all can give him a little a reaction, rate his team for him for real quick here. All right, let's see. Trevor's saying Celtics take 10 of 40 empty threes last night. Live by it and die by it. Exactly. Exactly. I even said that. Live by the three, die by the three. And that's exactly what's going on, Trevor, for sure. Superfan Mo's here. Good morning, Raptor Free crew. Lucky 7. Yeah, we got the 7th best odds in the lottery. We'll have to see what happens. Lucky 7 got us 4 last time. And well, on Monday, we'll find out. Draft lottery is this Monday. And we'll know our draft pick after Monday night, which is fantastic. Of course, y'all, we are doing our first Raptor Freak hangout for the summer at the NBA restaurant on June the 7th for Monique's birthday. So come on down to the NBA restaurant, Queens Quay in Toronto on Saturday, the June the 7th in the afternoon. We'll be down there at the restaurant having some food and just celebrating the birthday of Superfan Mo. So I hope you guys can come down there. Let us know if you can. Nako's saying, if the Raptors are around 7, Khaman, Fears, Queen, Murray Boyles are on my list. So he's got 3 of the names that I've got too. Actually, I don't have Queen. Oh, wait, no, I have Queen. I don't have Fears, and I don't have Murray Boyles. I like Newell. My list is Khaman, Queen, and Newell still. But once we do the draft lottery on Monday and we know exactly where we're at, I'm going to go in even more in depth in the analysis of figuring out what the best idea would be for that spot, and also kind of looking at mock drafts and kind of put my ear to the wind and kind of hearing what other people on other teams are thinking with their spots ahead of us in the draft. Or if we're number 1, well, easy Cooper Flag, right? Real easy. Randolph's here. Good to see Randolph Phillips. Blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. New day, new blessings, and another opportunity to do your best to make this world a much better place. Do all you can with what you were given. There you go. I like that. Once again, Randolph's message is to do good and to try and make this world a brighter, happier place for people. You know, in some ways, it's kind of like being on a plane, though. You know, with the planes going down, you got to put the mask on yourself first and then try and help other people. So it's really important that you do things to help yourself and self-care, because in some ways you can't be the best version of yourself without taking care of yourself. And if you're not taking care of yourself, you're more likely to be a jerk. Let's just put it that way. So taking care of yourself is important. Self-care is important. And then you can be more of a humanitarian and do the right things out in the world as a good person to help other people. So don't put yourself at a detriment by not taking care of yourself. You need to shower. You need to sleep. You need to eat. You need to take care of yourself, because when you don't, you're one of the worst versions of yourself. You're not taking care of yourself. Thank you, Randolph, for the words of wisdom. Blessings to Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families out there. Nako is saying the argument for Maluach is the intangibles. The argument for Queen is he's more three-dimensional. I'd hate to give someone the goal of being Jokic, but if there's someone who reminds me of him, it's Queen. Yeah, I've heard, like, that's the thing that kind of is the difference if we're debating Derek Queen versus Khaman Maluach, is that, you know, the offensive progress is further along with Queen. That Queen is a great scorer himself already, and he has really good passing chops. And in some ways, that would be one of the advantages of taking Derek Queen instead, is that you get more of a instant contributor on offense. That guy would be able, in some ways, he'd be more ready to play in the NBA than Khaman. And that in some ways is attractive. That is attractive. Now I go saying, bro, Boston went through the most hobbled East last year. This is who Boston is. There you go. I mean, the Eastern Conference is weak overall. Yes, the Western Conference is much stronger, but it's tough. I mean, I guess you're right in some ways. It's like the records of Cleveland and Boston are impressed and made better because of some of the really bad Eastern teams. Some very, very bad Eastern teams. And a lot of teams at the bottom of the Eastern Conference at the end of the year were really tanking out. So, you know what? I would say that you're right that last year Celtics had an easy path to the championship, and it really was partly too because they played Dallas in the finals, and Dallas was not a good team for them to play in the West. There were so many other better Western teams that would have given them a better challenge, and in some ways that Celtics championship was like a red carpet rolled out for them. Really was kind of like that. Yeah. Randolph saying, Lex, my concern is that if Khaman is as advertised, we would have to be moved up from 7 to get him because some teams above us will try and take him to hurt us. I would say this, and this is kind of like what our words of wisdom were with Trevor yesterday. Let's not think that teams out there are actively trying to hurt us. That's not like the mentality. It's kind of like, oh, I'm living my life, and that person cut me off in traffic. They're trying to hurt me. No, it's not like that. Some people are just selfish and they think about themselves. But I think that it's not really that. It's more the teams are going to be thinking about what their needs are. If anybody's drafting just to screw over another team, they're probably hurting themselves. You don't want to draft just to be spiteful towards another team. So I don't think this is something. I don't think that there's other teams that are strategically thinking they're trying to hurt the Raptors by trying to do this or that. They can't really figure it out till Monday anyway. So until we know the real order and kind of where things lay down and stuff like that, this shouldn't be a concern because honestly, I don't think this is really a thing. I don't think it is. I think that in some ways, you could see something like the Vince Carter draft day deal for Antoine Jameson. It's more likely teams are going to talk to each other and help each other than try and hurt each other in certain ways. Or it's more likely if you're Bobby Webb's going to pick up the phone and talk to other GMs. It's like, well, can we make a deal? If you do this and you trade this, we'll do this. And one hand washes the other kind of stuff. So I wouldn't be worried about teams trying to do something spitefully to us because, what's going to happen is the thing about it with Khaman is that his stock is going up. And that's the thing that's worrisome. That maybe he's been perceived as being like around an 8th pick, but maybe he's moving up to being closer to being like a 5th pick, that kind of stuff. All right, let's see. We got our first caller today. Caller, you're on the air. You're on the Raptor Freak Live and call-in show. How are you doing today, sir?
It's Seymour Pape out in Calgary, Alberta.
Yes, Mountain Time. Let's go.
Yeah, I was calling in about that what you were just talking about the draft and teams drafting to hurt us.
Yeah.
Now, my opinion on that, I think we're sort of like the bar for the league. And the reason why I say that is when teams lose to us, I notice the mainstream media over on the state side would usually say, well, that team is not good. They'll lose to all other 29 teams in the league, but it's not a problem.
Yeah.
The moment they lose to us, it's, oh, this team has a problem. They're not good. They trash the team when they lose to us, sort of putting us down, right? Like, no one's supposed to lose to us. So the league views us as the bar. So I definitely think teams do try and draft to take away from us, to keep us down, because no one wants to look embarrassed. Like, oh, we lost to Toronto. You know what I mean?
I'm going to respectfully, I will say this. I do say, I agree with you, Seymour, that we do have a impact on other teams when we beat them. Because we've seen teams like Sacramento. We beat Sacramento a couple years ago, and they immediately fired Luke Walton as their coach, like the day after. That happens. I'll agree with that. And that's partly the perception they built up about the Raptors franchise. And they try to do it in a certain way since our championship to make it seem like we're nothing like who we were in 2019. But I think that this is more of a fan and press thing than an actual in teams kind of thing. Like, I know the press will do this, and they'll try and make a team look bad if they lose to lowly Raptors who have a really bad record. And fans will believe all this crap too. But I don't think that GMs and coaches buy into this stuff. They understand what the Raptors are, and I think that perception stuff that you're talking about doesn't translate to those people. Exactly. I also don't want to feel like, the teams are out to get us. I don't feel like that's true. I don't feel like that's true.
And I think they view us more of, instead of respecting us as another team in the league, we're viewed as, guys go there sort of to develop, become something, and then the league gets to pick them. Look at all our stars. All our stars. Pascal's gone. OG's gone. Fred's gone.
Yeah.
Like, everyone that we've built, even, you know what hurt us the most, I would say? Well, not the most. Coloco, gone. Like, every piece that we invest into, gone. The league just comes and rips. You know what I mean? Almost like they feel like they deserve it. That's why they put all these trade talks out there that it's like, it sort of divides our organization when we hear Scotty's name being mentioned, Grady's name being mentioned, Oshai Abazi's name being mentioned.
I won't disagree with you on this. Now, this is another thing where the press are just trying to do what they do. But I would say this, it may seem like this is true, and especially with some former Raptors playing very well in the playoffs right now. But I think this isn't any different than most teams. I think that we're kind of saying, oh, it just happens to us, but this is not true. This happens to a lot of teams in the league, especially small market teams. A team like Minnesota or a team like Milwaukee, it's hard for them to get a good nucleus together because their people are gunning for their people too. I think also what you're saying about people trying to take our players that we develop here, and when they get developed, that may be true. That may be true. But I think that what we're doing, which is really smart, is that we really are getting on the same page with our keystone players like Scotty, and really ensconcing them as far as a part of, this is our culture, this is your team, you're a franchise player. So that in some ways it's like whatever some other team comes at with Scotty, it's not going to be more attractive than what he's already got here. And I once again want to say this about the group of Pascal, OG, and Fred, that these guys went to the top as young players early in their careers with the Raptors. They had a fall with the everything that happened in the next couple of years, and it just, the magic was gone, and they became jaded. They became a little bit less like, well, we got to go through all this again, except this time we got to be the guys in charge instead of Kyle and Kawhi and DeMar. And in some ways, it's so hard to come back up, especially after you felt like it was so easy. Siakam said this in an interview this year with the young man in the three, with Andrew Nebhart sitting next to him. He said, I didn't realize how good we had it on the Raptors in my early career because we just won so easy. And then when everything kind of went to crap, it was so hard to deal with the losing in Tampa. It was so hard to deal with all the different issues we went through. And at that point, it was time for a change of scenery. That those guys, as much as we would have loved of keeping Siakam and Fred and OG, those guys went through the roller coaster with the Raptors, and they were at a bottom point where they're just like, well, if we're going to come back up, it just won't be the same. And in some ways, I'm jaded on this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. But do you think that was the right move to let all of them go? Do you think we should have probably kept one of them?
That's a good question. And I honestly, because the spicy barbecue looks so good, I do often wonder about Siakam being the one guy that stayed and still playing with us. But I think that once we got RJ, it kind of like, even though we had RJ and Siakam for a little bit of time, it didn't make total sense still. And in some ways, once again, Siakam in his head, even if it was like, Siakam, we're going to make you the franchise player, but Scotty's here, Scotty's going to be doing this. Siakam in his head, everything was just kind of like, it's not that it was ruined. It's just that it was kind of like, it's just not the same and it doesn't feel right. And a change of scenery is necessary. So I also talked about this yesterday. It's like, you could hold on to sentimentality and players longer than you need to, and it will really hurt your team. We could have invested a huge contract in Siakam like Indiana did, and it could be totally the biggest mistake we made in the last 2 years, if you think about it.
Yeah, because management would have came down. Because I don't think, like, the fans loved Pascal, but I don't know if management and all them and it's weird because he doesn't have that catchy last name like a Carter, like an American last name. He sort of he has an African last name. I think management, and like you guys said, was sort of attached with the hockey team and everything. He was not a very marketable player, him or Anunoby. You know what I mean? They weren't those marketable big name players like Anthony Edwards.
I think you're right. I think you're right, but they're for different reasons. The two of them. I think with OG, it's his personality, and then with Siakam, you might be hitting the nail on the head right there. I mean, in some ways, Siakam is he's had to go through it harder than most people because for him to get any kind of credit, you got to think about he's not American. He's from Cameroon. And in some ways, he played for the Canadian team in the NBA. So a lot of his accomplishments with us, they're really earned because like him winning All-Star, him being on All-NBA team, that kind of stuff that he gets, he really earned it because in some ways they were going to overlook him as much as they could, So.
And to your saying when you said you don't think that teams would hurt themselves by taking targets that I think they would. That's why a lot of teams are trash, really, really trash. Like Washington, Detroit for a long time. A lot of those teams, I think, were eyeing players that can help our team grow.
Yeah.
And those bottom feeder teams were selecting guys that can help us grow. But the fact that their situation was so toxic, like you said, it was hurting themselves by getting our players that would help us. So I agree with what you said with that. Like if teams were targeting players that we're targeting, it would shoot themselves in the foot. And I believe that's why a lot of teams are at the bottom still for such a long time.
They got to think about the personal fit with their own team. If you're doing stuff just to be a detriment to other teams, you're not building the team for yourself. You're building the team with the other team in mind to hurt them. That's not good strategy. That's not good strategy. I think a good example of this is, and this is something I'm speculating on. I have no idea if this is true. When we drafted Koloko, he was the second round pick. And right before he got drafted, Caleb Houston got drafted by Orlando. And Caleb Houston is best friends with Scott. It's very well known. And he's from Mississauga. He's Canadian. And I was hoping we were going to draft him. But Orlando came in and swooped and took him just before our pick. And then Masai pivoted and took Koloko. So I would say this is a case where we got to trust Bobby and Masai and say, first of all, we know Bobby and Masai keep their cards close to their chest. They don't let anybody know what they're really thinking or what their draft board has anything looks like. They have a draft board that probably looks totally different than the other 29 teams in the league. And nobody's going to know what it looks like. Because they are tight-lipped and they ain't talking about nothing. And then the other thing we got to remember to trust them on is even if other teams try and do something like Caleb Houston, that thing, they're going to have a contingency plan and that they're going to have next man up mentality. Well, they went ahead and took this person. Well, we're going to go ahead and go and get this person instead. So
that Caleb Houston, man, he would have been great on our team. But Orlando got him and then shelved him. He doesn't get no playing time.
Right before. Nothing. Yeah, right before. Would have been a great pick. Would have had the vibes of like Jonathan playing with Scotty. But it just wasn't to be. And Orlando took him. In some ways, it may have been Orlando getting a little get back for Scotty Barnes, Jalen Suggs. Right there. Because in some ways, we were supposed to take Jalen Suggs and leave Scotty for them to be taken to the Magic. But we flipped the script. So in some ways, Orlando fan could be kind of like saying, well, the Raptors came and snaked us for Scotty.
Yep.
So it goes all different ways. I mean, it's just our own personal perception of ourselves from our ego that says, oh, the other teams are going to try and screw us over. You know what? There may be a little bit of that kind of stuff strategically. But for the most part, teams need to be coming from the place where they need to be thinking about what's best for them as far as with them. And I don't care about what other teams are doing,
Yeah.
So you like Khaman?
Yeah, I like the pick. We need a big man. We need another big man. So, yeah, I like the pick. He can it's a perfect city for him.
Yeah.
Because the culture fits for him. Everything. It checks all the boxes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that we've seen with Shamshay this year that he's adapted to being in Canada very well, and that he's enjoying being in the NBA. And once again, the Raptors are a great organization for international players to come into the NBA on, especially with this weird stuff that with Khaman status being South Sudanese, with what the politics in the States are right now.
So between the two, who do you give the edge to? You go Shamshay right now?
Between, like, if we had both of them on our team next year?
Yeah.
Well, I think because what's going to happen is Khaman's going to be a lottery pick. That right there is going to put him a little bit more on a fast track over Shamshay. Because in some ways, we could make the argument that Shamshay should be in this draft this year. That Masai snaked in the line ahead of the game and took him a year early and brought him on the Raptors for an early development year last year. That, you know, Shamshay probably would have been in this draft this year if Masai hadn't jumped the line. So I think that Maluach will get more time this year if he does get drafted by the Raptors, and Shamshay will still be a 905 project that will see some time on the Raptors. He would have saw a lot of time on the Raptors at the second half of the season if he hadn't gotten hurt. But yeah, I think Khaman would be ahead of him. Just because he's a draft pick, he's going to get paid more too. That's part of it. So,
and I just really hope he stays healthy, because we've been seeing a lot of young players from Koloko, Grady, Jacoby, injuries.
Yeah.
From all these young guys. So, you know, the main thing is hopefully he stays healthy.
Yeah.
You know, that's
always a case. Now, speaking of health, I don't know if you saw this article, but there's a Pelicans fan that wrote an article about the Brandon Ingram trade saying that they fleeced us. And they're saying because they got two good role players and two draft picks for an often injured Brandon Ingram that's never there to help. They're saying that they fleeced us in this trade. I will say this. Brandon Ingram is a gym rat who played a lot of hours in the gym, making himself who he is as a player. In some ways, he wore himself out, and that's part of the problem right now. In some ways, he needs to take time off to heal. And, you know, with Dr. Alex and load management and the fact that the Raptors got the best year post-Spurs out of Kawhi Leonard's body with load management, I don't worry about Brandon Ingram with this season coming up, because in some ways we're really letting him take the time to really fully heal, not rush him this year. And then hopefully he'll be ready for the beginning of the season. He can stay healthy. And if we stay on top of it, hopefully because it's true. It could be true that the Pelicans fans right. Like, if Brandon is somebody who just does not show up for games regularly because of his health, this could be a problem with this. But I want to say this. I trust Bobby and Masai to make the right decision if they're going to invest this huge extension into Brandon Ingram, that they've done their homework and they understand the nature of his injury, and they understand that once he gets past this, he's going to be fine. So I want to trust them on this.
Automatic 20-game score.
Yeah.
20-point score. But yeah, that is a little bit of a concern. The injury prone. Yeah. Because I sort of view him in that same category as a Chet Holmgren. Very lean.
Very lean, yeah.
But the talent, you can't. The talent we got,
yeah,
that skill level is unmatched. And yes, he could be a Kawhi next year. You know, just turn into a freaking cyborg for us and shit. But that injury concern, his injury prone is high. It is a concern. But it's a risk, right? And it's just like the Kawhi.
I say at least we have insurance. Like, if there is time where Ingram is out, we still got a very good like contingency that we had this year with RJ and Emmanuel and Scotty and Yak and stuff like that. So it's like it's kind of like it may be very similar to Kawhi Leonard in his year, where he wasn't always available. There was load management. And there were often games in the championship year where Kyle Lowry had to be the leader and lead the team in the absence of Leonard. And that may be part of what we see this season coming up with Brandon Ingram joining our team. There may be some games that he doesn't play because they're back-to-backs. There may be, a load management going on. I think that the league is more and more physical. And your point and your last comment is very true. This is something that we need to worry about, because players are getting hurt. And this is why strength, conditioning, and nutrition and all the kind of things you do to strengthen yourself are so absolutely essential at this point. You could be a lazy, out of shape player before, but not anymore. Not in today's NBA. You need every edge, and you need to be taking care of yourself right.
And it's two different situations too. Like Ingram being in the West, New Orleans needed him to play every game to be a successful team. And just like you said, I think we have way better wings that if he doesn't play, like RJ, Grady,
fill in.
You can even put Scotty in that if you want in that wing. Because we have a better wing group of guys than what New Orleans had. So
I would even say that, you know, we probably have a way better medical staff than the Pelicans too. That may be a big factor in all this too. Is like, who the hell is down there doing the medical stuff for the Pelicans? And why would they have any success with knowing how to deal with Brandon Ingram? We've got a VP of our team that is the top sports science medicine, and that's Dr. Alex McKechnie. So I have no idea who runs things down in New Orleans. I don't know if they have a very good staff. I mean, they just fired their GM and hired Joe Dumars and Troy Weaver. I have no idea if their medical staff is even in the top 10 or top 5 in the NBA. It could be that they're at the bottom of the whole entire league with their doctors and their medicine. And then it's like, okay, Pelicans fan, you're going to say Brandon Ingram's always hurt, but y'all have the worst medical staff in the league.
It starts with.
I mean, look at Zion Williamson. He's another great example of like fails with medical staff.
I'll give you even a better one. Look at the health of CJ McCollum since he's gone there from Portland. Guy has gained weight. He looks totally out of shape. He doesn't even look.
I think that is more indicative of the organization and not necessarily Brandon Ingram, is what we're saying here. Seriously. CJ McCollum hardly missed any games when he played for the Trailblazers. Seriously.
Exactly.
So something's wrong down there. I think that's what it is more, man.
Choose Carabana over Mardi Gras any day.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Lots of eating crawdaddies and etouffee. Stuff like that. That's right.
Let some other callers get a chance here.
Right on, man. Well, I hope you're having a good day at work, Seymour, and all the best, man. I hope you see more paper. That's what I'm always saying right there. Yeah, man. All right, keep holding it down for RFF and Alberta, my guy. I appreciate you, man. Man, Seymour Pape, first call in today on the Raptor Free call-in show, Thursday Think Tank. Yeah, these are the NBA is getting more and more physical, and more players are getting hurt, and that's why, along with the puzzle of the new salary cap structure, GM's got to be really like wanting to fit that puzzle with the right pieces. You can't have an extraneous, expensive player on your team that's just going to sit like Ben Simmons anymore. You need to hit on all cylinders with your money. And then you got to really hope that you got luck with injuries not happening and you get your players present and out there, because that's a huge part of it also. Huge part of it right there, man. Huge part of it. Yeah. Let's see. Nako's saying, I think this is OG's prime. He's better in New York, but I don't think it's because he's in New York. That's a statement that's true too. Is like OG's on a he's starting to progress. He's right around his prime years in the league right now. And you can make that argument. My whole argument about OG, the difference between Toronto OG and New York OG, is that he's just as inconsistent if you really pay attention. Because that was the one thing with OG. Like when he was in his last couple of years with the Raptors, we were all wondering, is he going to try and take a leap to be a franchise player like Siakam? Is he going to try and be the number one option in scoring? And in some ways, he made overtures he want to do that. Some ways he showed like the potential to do that with like a 30-plus game every once in a while. But let's not get it twisted. Seriously, you guys go look at OG's work with the Raptors before we traded him to New York. He was having the up downs of like a 30-point game to a 8-point game to a 17-point game to a 25-point game. He's done that inconsistently for a while. But, I'll give Gerald credit on this. In some ways, OG is in his prime right now. In some ways, once again, I remind everyone, he plays for the most marketable market that's on blast that everybody can see. In some ways, that is going to enhance his value in some people's eyes because he's on a bigger stage in some ways because everybody's seeing it. And that's part of it also. So going to be more voices talking about it. But I remember because I was there and I paid attention to when he was wearing the Raptors jersey, just like y'all did. And people got to set it straight. It's not like OG made a huge leap going to New York. He was doing this kind of shit for us too. He was having crazy 3-point shooting games where he made most of his threes for us also. before we traded him. So Seymour saying Randolph Pape, I can see that happening just to spite us. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I think that all the teams have to really kind of do what they need to do just to stay competitive at this point, because this league is more competitive with physicality and the salary cap. That's right. There's the fantasy team for James. Let's see if anybody's got any things on there. Yeah. Smooth saying respect to the New York Knicks. I didn't think they had it in them. Yeah, I'm shocked that, I mean, I knew they were making a late surge. I was like, man, they're going to probably be too little too late, because it's really crazy, but they made it just exactly, just 1 point. And Celtics fans are in shambles. You can't hate that. You can't hate that at all, man. Trevor's saying, remember, Lex, read the words of wisdom before you put your poll up. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. I apologize. I totally apologize. I've done this a couple times before. In some ways, it's because I'm just getting inspired to put the poll up. So I put the poll up, and then I'm like, oh, man, apologize, guys. Smooth saying that Leafs got up 2-0 over the Panthers last night. I heard that instead of the Raptors rookies being at the Leafs game last night, it was the coaches. That the coaching staff went to the Leafs game and sat in the box, Darko with his coaches, watching the Leafs victory over the Florida Panthers in game 2, go up 2-0. Fantastic stuff. Of course, my Jets lost last night 3-2 to Dallas in their opener in their series over there. I wasn't too happy about that. Most of the outcomes last night I really liked. Like the basketball outcomes, I love both of them. I like the Leafs winning, but I was unhappy that Winnipeg lost last night. That was where I was unhappy right there. Yeah, go Leafs, go. There you go. I'm in my Doug Gilmour jersey today. There you go. Dougie Gilmour. There you go. Old school jersey, the best, actually. Yeah, Doug Gilmour is a very, very popular Toronto Maple Leaf alumni. That's for sure. Yeah, Dougie. Let's go, Dougie. That's right. Seymour saying, which NBA team has won the most games in the last 15 years? I want to say it's Golden State, but that may be wrong because they had some bad years in the middle there. The last 15 years, I don't know. Is it Clippers or Golden State or Boston, or maybe even we've won a lot of games too in 15 years. I'm going to say that we've won a lot of games in the last 15 years too. I don't know. This is a trivia question. If you give me the answer, let me know, Seymour. Trevor's saying, who's that WNBA team is this? Solid teams with a lot of vets. That's a dangerous combination of players right there. Very good picks. All right. So, James, you're getting good marks from Commissioner Fun, Trevor James, for your fantasy team. That is James's team. And yeah, you like the team. He's solid. He's got good vets. There you go. I'm feeling like my team's in trouble. I went to the waiver wire and picked up another Canadian. I picked up Letitia Emma here. She's had some very good games in preseason for the Valkyries. So hopefully she'll get some good playing time on the Valkyries this season. So now I have 3 Canadians on my team between her, Edwards, and Kia Nurse. Yeah, so I got Canadian content on my team. So I snuck her on my team, and hopefully Letitia will come through for me. Yeah, let's see. Am I here? Am I here? Yeah, you're on my team. Yeah, you are. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Seymour saying his favorite Leaf of all time is Doug Gilmour. There you go. Seymour saying, did Orlando wrinkle them? They look hurt. Celtics look beat up from their Magic series. Yeah, they did. They complained about this a lot, actually. The Orlando Magic were very thuggish in this season. They were when we played them in the regular season too. Very dirty, very, very physical. In some ways, their offense isn't very good, so they had to play bad boys kind of defense and get in the other team's head and just physical other teams. And yeah, they did do that to the Celtics. I think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are on the down low, both hurt. Porzingis is hurt. Drew Holiday's been missing games. So yeah, they're a bit beat up. They're a bit beat up, and this is part of the problem that they're in right now. This is part of the problem they're in right now. That's right. Trevor's saying Celtics and Cleveland are getting exposed. All the regular season stuff is not working out in the playoffs. You know, this is true. And I've been listening to what the different coaches are saying, Steve Kerr and Chris Finch going back and forth about game 1 of their series and how they both see it. Chris Finch sent a tape to the NBA showing how the Warriors were guarding Rudy Gobert and saying that it was very dirty and excessively physical. Meanwhile, Steve Kerr saying, I want to do the same thing with what y'all are doing to Steph Curry. And in fact, Steph Curry got hurt in that game from, basically the Timberwolves took the page out of the book from the Rockets in the first round, and they really have been totally manhandling Steph Curry to the point where he's hurt now. And Yeah, it's just a very physical playoffs. It's like this has always been the case that there's an up of physicality after the playoffs start, but I think it's even more so right now. And part of it is because the flavor of the NBA refs this year was to let them play, let a lot of physicality go. And well, there's a lot of stuff that would have been fouls in the regular season that would have been fouls in the regular season last year that wasn't fouls in the regular season this year. And then stuff that would have been fouls in the regular season with the extra physicality is not a foul in the playoffs. And it's crazy. In some ways, the referees are doing a really good job because it's really hard to balance all that. In some ways, they want to allow physical playoffs, but where do you call the calls? In some ways, they got to try and be as fair as possible. But man, this trend's not going to go away. And if you're a dainty team that loves playing non-physical contact basketball during the season, you get a lot of wins. You're not a good playoff team. Because if you're not playing with the physicality that you're going to meet in the playoffs, you're going to be exposed. Just like Trevor's saying, you're going to be exposed. And that is what's going on right here. G's saying, I just came on. Whoever's WNBA team is, that is stacked. There you go. G's giving good marks to James's team also. We'll have to see how James does this year in the WNBA fantasy team. Yeah, that's James. James is a fantasy team there. Yeah, there you go. Monique's telling him. Let's see. Trevor's saying, Lex, what do you think about that statement? New Orleans fleeced Raptors with Ingram. I did kind of go over that with Seymour a little bit. Once again, I'm going to say Alex McKechnie. That's a big part of it. I'm going to also say that you go ahead and tell whatever you need to make yourself feel better. You guys are going to see a player that's going to come back to all-star form on the Raptors next year with his health back. And y'all got Kelly Olynyk and Bruce Brown. And in some ways, I mean, that Pelicans guy wrote that. He says, yeah, we need to hit on these draft picks, though, for this to become a fleecing of the Raptors. Man, you guys saying you fleeced us. Man, y'all got Bruce Brown. And it's funny how he said, oh, we got Kelly Olynyk. He's a good, serviceable, big man role player. But he doesn't even mention the good things about Bruce Brown. So I'm just like, okay, you guys got Bruce Brown's contract from us. Thank you. Thank you. In some ways, I'll say, we may have fleeced you because you took on Bruce Brown's contract. I know it's expiring and all that kind of stuff, but either way, I'm very happy to get one player for 2 picks and 2 role players because that one player consolidates a roster spot into a very high level talent. It's like one of the top 5 best talents that ever been on the Raptors. Let's just put it that way. As far as talent wise, he's one of the top 5 best talented players that have ever played for the Raptors. Brandon Ingram. It may be Vince, Kawhi, Scotty, and him is what I'm saying right here. That's what I'm saying. There you go. G saying, thanks, Mo. Great team. Yeah, James did a really good job with his draft, apparently, according to you guys. Randolph saying, Lex, when you listen to the American media, it is clear that there are those who will not trade with us in fear that they'll lose the trade. They will try to deny us certain players in free agency. Well, I mean, once again, I don't want to live in this mindset that everybody's out to get me. I think that we established something really good yesterday with Trevor's and other people's words of wisdom that, most people that are doing things that are bad are just their own problems and it's come from them. It doesn't have anything to do with us. The hate isn't actually for us. We don't have haters. It's just that these people are miserable and they're acting out and we just happen to be in their line of destruction. That in some ways, I don't want to believe this, guys. I mean, I think that Mike, Logical Raptors Fanatic, had some good points on the Discord server last night that the league is not out to get us. They're not trying to fix the draft. They're not trying to say the Raptors can never have the first pick in the draft. They're not trying to do this. They're not trying to do that. In some ways, the league in some ways seems like they're going out of their way to show that they're not scripted because we're seeing some really crazy playoff results right now. If they're scripted, the Celtics wouldn't be down 0-2 right now. The Lakers would not be out of the playoffs. So in some ways, Adam Silver is kind of listening to people say, oh, this is too predictable. This I'll show them. We're going to go by the book for a while, guys. No more trying to storybook stuff. Just let them play, but may the best team win. There you go, Adam Silver. I commend you if you're doing that now. We can't be so conspiracy theory that we think everybody's out to get us. In some ways, I want to say this. This is an interesting idea. Think about this. Trump's rhetoric about Canada has made us kind of a baby face. Seriously, he's a heel. He's a villain. He's absolutely horrible. He's doing all kinds of crazy dictatorial shit. Well, a lot of Americans are like coming to our defense and saying that we love Canada and we don't like how you're picking on them. Could there be some sort of weird side effect that all of a sudden the Raptors are getting a little bit more favor and consideration just because of the bullshit that's going on between Canada and the United States, this trade war that we didn't ask for that Trump is putting on here. I mean, could you see that? Could you see that? Is like, you know what? The Raptors, we've not been given a fair shake for 30 years, but now, man, all this stupid stuff that's going on with Canada and the US, can we just like kind of maybe go easier on them all of a sudden? Could there be a little bit of that kind of energy around there? Could Adam Silver in some ways see that the Raptors franchise is in some ways in a crosshairs? That it could be dangerous, and potentially, if there's any kind of weirdness between US and Canada, that maybe Adam Silver is more protective of the Raptors than ever right now? Could that be true? Seriously, think about that. Like, in some ways, he likes having our team here in Toronto. Let's not get it twisted. He needs that international feel. He knows that Toronto is a good market, and he likes having Toronto in the league. Let's not get it twisted. Some other people in the media and other places may be like, yeah, we should get rid of Canada's team. We don't need a Canadian team in here. But not Adam Silver. He wants to keep Toronto around. He's a very good ally for us. So I could see it going the opposite way. I could see us getting more favor and being more stronger because Adam Silver wants us to be a healthy franchise that can withstand any kind of shit. Because the other thing is we got to think about if there's a tariff war, in some way costs for the Raptors organization are different than the U.S. teams. And in some ways, Adam Silver may be like, you know what, we need to give financial considerations to the Raptors because of this crazy shit that Trump's doing right now. You know, these are all real issues. And in some ways, I would say, I think much like a lot of the general population of the United States is rallying as a friend and ally to Canada in the face of this bullshit, that Adam Silver would be a huge ally to us in this whole weird, tumultuous period that Trump has caused. So, I mean, does that make sense? In some ways, we want to orient our brain in some ways to think that the world is out there to bless us and give us good things and be on our side and look out for us. There's a lot of forces out there that want to tell you, no, everybody's out to get you. Can't trust anyone, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And you just got to be out there on your own. No, I want to orient my mind to say that the world works in karmic ways that are there to lay it all out for me to be happy and have good things happen to me. So in some ways, it's a power of perception in your mind. You could say everybody's out to get me and you'll believe it. Or you could say, you know what? People out there love me and they're trying to help me. And you can believe that too. So I would make that argument. And some interesting points I just brought up about the whole ripples because of the political situation going on with the United States and MAGA is that we may have more allies for the Raptors all of a sudden in weird ways. Let's just put it that way. Does that make sense? That kind of makes sense to me. Trevor's saying Bobby Masai will never make a move like that for Ingram if they did not know that you can get him healthy to play. Yeah, I mean, the evidence is that they didn't have to do the extension so quickly. You know, seriously, they did their homework. They didn't have to do that extension. They could have done it this summer and really investigated him. So they must have brought him in. They must have had Dr. Alex go over him very, 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 very carefully. And the information that they heard from Dr. Alex, the doctors around the Raptors are saying, yeah, this guy could be totally fine for next year and he can be durable. And we'll keep him even better through nutrition, strength training, and Dr. Alex monitoring him every single day. You know, I'm just saying, I think that Trevor's exactly right. We don't have a stupid front office. They're not going to invest a huge extension in Brandon Ingram if they think he's going to sit on the sidelines most of it. I think Brandon has a lot to prove himself. This has something to do like with what Kawhi, when he came here, he had a lot to prove. San Antonio and him had a really bad ending. And in some ways, there were a lot of people saying all kinds of crazy mess about Kawhi Leonard. And it motivated the hell out of him to do what he did the 1 year he played for the Raptors. So I could say the same thing. And I could see it from what Brandon's saying. Like they're very open about, they want him to get back to an all-star level. Brandon obviously wants that. The Raptors want that. So I don't see what the problem would be other than if he is really hurt most of the time he's here. And I don't think, like Trevor's saying, they did their homework. And I'll bet you they kind of did preliminary homework before they executed the trade. They brought him in. They talked to him. They saw how he was taken to Toronto. He took to it very well. He took to the team and the teammates, the organization really, really well. And they talked to him in real talk. And they probably said, look, we want you to get healthy. We don't want you to be sitting on the side collecting checks for nothing. You need to get healthy. And you are into that. And they probably answered questions before they gave him the extension. And Brandon was like, of course I want to be healthy. I love playing basketball. I hated not playing. And I'm ready to get back out there. Okay. All right. Well, I think we understand what we need to do. They wouldn't have done this extension like this if they didn't feel comfortable about all this. Seriously, they wouldn't have. Trevor's exactly right. You guys half-ass when y'all say trust the front office. Well, it's not really that we're half-assing this, Trevor. In some ways, we are talking as the nation of the Raptors. And it's not just the fans. There's the naysayers, the negative Nancy's, the chicken littles, the people like Michael Grange that are going to point out every little bullshit thing. In some ways, we're talking for all of them right now. This guy wrote this Pelicans article yesterday. Raptors fans are talking about it on Reddit. They're talking about it on different places. Well, let's look at it. And in some ways, it's not that we're half-assing trust for them. We trust them. I trust them. I know a lot of everybody's watching me right now trust Masai and Bobby. It's just that there's a lot of Raptors Nation that don't, and we need to talk to them and tell them why they should trust them. It's really that. Let's see. Blackhawks saying, I don't know about respect, but I do want to see Pacers versus Knicks. That'd be a fun series. That would be very, very fun. And it's looking like that so far with the way these series are going. It's really cool. Yeah. Somebody's saying, did you start Andor yet, Lex? No, I'm not watching anything right now. We're supposed to start Better Call Saul next. I'm watching Dark Side of the Ring episodes that are new that just came out. I watched Dark Side of the reality TV too. Those were pretty interesting episodes. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm going to get into Andor anytime soon. I don't have Disney Plus. I really don't. So it's kind of a hop, skip, and a jump. Let's see. Blackhawks saying Adam Silver ain't out to get me, but that tax man always is. Oh, man. Well, I want Texas to go through something good. I'm not mad at taxes, guys. I'm not mad at taxes. I think taxes are good for society because they pay for public services, and we need public services. We need roads. We need firemen. We need police. We need libraries. We need things. And in some ways, Canada having taxes is great because we see the benefits of them. I want to continue to see those benefits. And if you vote for a certain political party, you'll see less benefits, just like what's happening in the United States. So don't vote for that party. In some ways, I get it. Taxes are high, but I'd much rather have taxes going towards stuff that we use than a war going around the other side of the building, other side of the world, and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm sensitive to this. People use taxes as a scapegoat politically so many different ways when it's like a really easy bully or straw man to put on. Oh, it's taxes. His taxes are too high. Well, in some ways, I would say it's not that taxes are too high. It's that the misappropriation of using our tax money is wrong. And that's the problem. That's the problem, especially in the States. You might as well, if you're paying taxes there, you're paying for a war in Israel, and you're paying for Elon to blast rockets in the sky. You're not paying for anything for yourself. That's right. Let's see. Most saying, watch the last episode, Open Gym, man. BI speaks on everything. Yeah. He's ready. He's in the fold. He's taken to everybody. Everybody's taken to him. There's no problem here. It's just he's got to be healthy. And apparently he's going to be healthy in the next couple of weeks, and he'll be able to start working out regularly, fully with the team. And that'll be for most of the summer, which is fantastic. Now, we don't want any setbacks, so I hope that they're being very smart with him and slow with him. But they will do it. That's right. Stargate saying, what did I miss? Well, we had a good call from Calgary from our guy, Seymour Pate. And now I'm going to do the straight goods on the Canadian goods. And I'm going to do a little bit like I've gone a little corporate the last 2 days. I'm not totally happy about it, but I do want to give alternatives for different products. And one of the products we don't talk about that much is, pharmacy products. And, Shoppers Drug Mart is a Canadian company. And Shoppers does have brands that are Canadian mostly made or sourced. Not all of them under this brand are Canadian sourced, but it is still a Canadian brand, and it's better than paying the money from the American product, which is Tums. But this is not Tums. This is an antacid that is by Life. And Life products at the grocery store, Life brand, a lot of times is made in Canada. Like on the back of this, it says prepared and made in Canada. And this company is Canadian. So this is like buying antacids from Canada. You can buy the name brand Tums, but that's an American corporation. But if you buy this, I mean, it is going to Galen Weston and his stupid ass Shoppers Drug Mart, Loblaw's empire. But you do need this kind of stuff. And if you don't want to buy an American one, buying a Life brand item like that, or even instead of Pepto-Bismol, you get this Life brand Bismuth suspension. They can't say Pepto. But you can get these products, and this is buying more Canadian than the brand name ones in some ways. Now, I don't like supporting Galen Weston, but it's all like different levels of lesser. And in some ways, if you want to buy Canadian, you can buy Life brand drugstore stuff over name brand products from the US, and you're supporting Canadian economy a little bit more right there. That's what I say. Yeah. Blackhawk saying, gotta run. Cheers. Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, let's keep going in the chat with the different things I do. Let's do the Instagram stories. Toronto Tempo president Teresa Resch was at the PWHL playoff game, the first ever playoff game for the Scepters against the Frost. So there you go at Coca-Cola Coliseum. Good stuff. So seeing Teresa Resch out there supporting the Scepters in their playoff game last night. Good stuff. Lloyd is enjoying the huge win for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's a huge fan of the Thunder. And man, what a blowout. That's crazy, man. Toronto Tempo has a job opening open. Listen, guys, if you like numbers, Teresa Resch has a job for you. They are looking for an accountant. They have a job listing. You can apply to become the accountant for the Toronto Tempo right now. So if you know anything, if you're a chartered accountant, if you have the licensing and you are a full-fledged accountant and you want to work for the WNBA, it's Toronto Tempo, the job is open. So apply right now. You could be the accountant for the WNBA Toronto Tempo. That's what's up right there. Jacoby Walters got, he's out on sound. I think he's in Toronto, guys. I'm not totally positive. It kind of looks like Toronto where he's walking around. So Wubbs has his short haircut. He's repping Malcolm X on the back of his shirt. But yeah, I think he's downtown in Toronto. I'm not totally positive. It looks like Toronto is behind him. It does look like Toronto. So Wubbs is looking like he's still in Toronto right now, at least there. He's got a friend of his he's putting on blast. Also, this is KT the Great 5. So he's just got him on blast. Oh, that's is that Davion? Did Davion get his haircut too? That's not Davion, is it? Is that Davion Mitchell? That's weird. No, it's just a guy named KT the Goat. Never mind. Sorry, I misled on that. Let's see. Jamal McGlure's got the Paradise costume launch May 18th. It's at 3 to 6 p.m. At 80 Midwest Road. So that's for the revelers coming up with the Caravana. Let's see. He's also got Mimosa coming up because it is Mother's Day coming up this weekend, guys. Mother's Day celebration, appetizers, mimosas, special prizes at the Mimosa celebration. Once again at 80 Midwest Road, Unit 6 and 7, Toronto Revelers. That's part of the Paradise thing. There we go. And Jamal's out in the community helping a lady braid some hair. That's interesting. So he's doing some events. It's all about the Revelers for Jamal McGlure coming up this summer at the Carnival, all that stuff. That's right. Savannah Hamilton is out with a friend having dinner. Looks like a nice meal. Some charcuterie. And she's also at Maple Leaf Square, well, Jurassic Park for the game last night. Akil Augustine on the stage, getting everybody hyped. And Savannah's taking in the scene at Jurassic Park with Leaf Nation down there. Let's see what else. There she is with a margarita, having a nice evening. And also, apparently, Funko has announced that they're going to put out WNBA Pops, their first ever WNBA Pops, and they're going to have Aja Wilson, Angel Reese, Brianna Stewart, and Caitlin Clark will be the 4 that they make those Funko Pops, like the ones behind me, like Scotty and Raptor behind me right there. Kyle Lowry is on the golf course. He got out there on the golf course in Philadelphia. He's teeing off, and there's Kyle in his other habitat he loves, the links, playing that golf, man. He loves that stuff, man. Andrew Jones is still trying to get votes for his wife on Supermom contest. Let's get her up, get her to the top 5. There you go. So keep voting for Andrew Jones's wife in the mom contest. Jamal Shed showing off his workout on the offseason. Wow, he's doing some pull-ups, man. He's looking really ripped. This is the kind of stuff we got to see, man, from this guy. Strength and conditioning, tendon and tissue health. There you go. Look at this, man. He's showing his workouts a lot, actually, on his Instagram lately. He's doing balance work, strength training, all kinds of different stuff. I like some of the things that Jamal's been doing. Some of the repetitions are like on one foot and leaning over, is really working on balance. Like I could see where if he does that a lot, it'll be really helpful in the game. Like if he's falling out of bounds, he's got to stay in bounds and hold the ball. You know, some of this stuff he's doing right now is really good for that kind of stuff. Balance work and strength and balance. Like if he's going to be standing on one foot and kind of toppling over, can he hit the ball over to who he needs to hit it to? You know, AJ Lawson putting on blast, MVP of McKinley Wright is the NLB MVP of the season. I don't know who McKinley Wright is, but he's putting him on blast. And there you go. There's your Instagram stories for today. Kyle Lowry's on the golf course. He belongs out there, right? He belongs out there. Stargate saying, I have a feeling that a lot of teams are going to do draft day trades this year. Could be. I don't know. Depending on where the Raptors land in the lottery, that we could be one of them, is what I would say. We could be one of them. Stargate saying OKC took the Nuggets out the woodshed. Yeah, SGA is like, nah, I didn't look right in this first game. And people are saying Jokic should win MVP. Nah, I'm going to come out there and remind them real quick. Real quick. There is a game tonight, guys, in the playoffs. It is going to be Golden State at Minnesota game 2. And Tony Brothers is the crew chief. He favors the Golden State Warriors. Tyler Ford is the referee. He really favors the Warriors. He is not kind to Minnesota at all. And then Brian Forte is the third ref. He also favors the Warriors. So there's a lot of favor for Golden State in game 2 in Minnesota to take it also and have another team down 0-2 at home in the second round. So don't be surprised if the Warriors win again tonight, even though Steph Curry is going to be out tonight, guys. He is going to be out. He's going to miss a week for sure. He may miss a couple of games. So I don't know. They really they got a ref crew out in Minnesota that's very helpful to Golden State, just so y'all know. Replay center is Mitchell Irvin sitting in the replay center. So yeah, interesting ref crew right there. Interesting ref crew. Trevor's saying you got to have faith. Without faith, nothing moves or happens. Yeah, you got to hope that it's all going to work out in the end. And you know what? I'm seeing signs of different things going to work out in the end. I really do. I really do see different signs where things are going to be all right. Things are going to be all right. That's right. Seymour saying answer was Golden State, most wins in 15 years. That's who I thought it was. I thought it was Golden State. Now, Golden State had one really dud year, and that was around the pandemic where they missed the playoffs. They had a couple years where they had really bad times, but then they came up and won the championship again. But yeah, they've won. That totally makes sense. That tracks. The Golden State has the most wins in the last 15 years. Thanks for answering that trivia question. I appreciate that. Let me see. What else are we doing on the chat today as far as things? Let's go look at Raptors Reddit. Let's see. OG and Pascal up 2-0 in the semifinals. That 2019 championship was special. That's right. Raptors fans are celebrating Boston losing last night. That's right. Let's fucking go. That's all. Good night, folks. That's funny, man. OG Anunoby is a defensive player of the year, player, is what somebody's saying on Reddit, Raptors Reddit. You know, so let's see. What else is there? My petty face while watching the Celtics lose the same way tonight. That's so awesome, man. Raptors fans are enjoying this, that they did lose. It's crazy. Let's see. They're saying that the Kyle Lowry is going to kickstart a second sports career in what? In golf? Yeah, he's a big time golfer. He's already been golfing. Of course, he's probably going to be a pro-am golfer. I could see him being like a pro-am golfer, like being on the celebrity tours all the time. Like he's going to be out there like Bill Murray. He's going to be out there golfing all the time. I'm going to say this right now. Let's see. Is there anything else on Reddit that's worth talking about? I don't think so. This is a Knicks fan who came in and asked us this. What are y'all's thoughts on OG now? Knicks fan coming in peace. Y'all got my boys. But what are y'all's thoughts on OG's development from when y'all had him last? Do y'all see this offensive jump coming for him? Once again, I'm going to say what I said earlier. He was doing that shit for us too already. It's not like this is totally new. Seriously. OG had huge games for the Raptors also. In fact, you should remember, Knicks fans, because he hung you guys with like a 40-point game once too. So come on now. They're asking on Raptors Reddit, would you do this Giannis trade from Bleacher Report? It's Giannis Antetokounmpo and Pat Connaughton for Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett, and a first-round pick. Wait, 3 first-round picks. 4 first-round picks. That's a ridiculous trade. No, we wouldn't do that. Brandon and RJ and 4 picks for freaking Giannis and Pat Connaughton? No, forget that. You're crazy. All right. Anyway, enough of that. Y'all talking out your ass here on Raptors Reddit. What are you doing there, man? Seriously. Happy birthday to Garrett Temple, guys. It's Garrett Temple's birthday today. Garrett Temple is actually 39 today, guys. 39. Next year on this day, he'll be 40. So yeah, Garrett is 39 today, guys. So happy birthday to Garrett Temple, the oldest Raptor on the team right now. And we'll see if he's back on the team next year. We'll have to see. But happy birthday to you. And also happy birthday to 10-day contract near the end of the season, Cole Schwider, guys. It's Cole Schwider's birthday today. He's 26 today. So happy 26th birthday, Cole Schwider, who was a Raptor at the end of the year on two 10-day contracts with the Raptors right at the end of the season. So yeah, those are your birthdays. That's why Garrett, I guess, had a special interest in mentoring Cole, is because they had the same birthday. And they probably figured that out, because you remember when Cole started making shots finally went on this 10-day contract, Garrett was his biggest fan. He was like, you just keep shooting, man. It was like, there's their birthday twins. That's why. So happy birthday, Garrett and Cole. It's their birthdays today, guys. That's what's up. Yeah, let's see. Is there anything else on here that I want to talk about? Oh, we need to do the classic card, of course. We'll do that in a second. Stargate saying Jason Tatum with the end of game choke job. Love it. Love it. Yeah. And Stargate saying OG is playing exactly the same with the Knicks as he did with the Raptors. Yeah. And you could look at the game last night. I mean, seriously, what did he do last night? What did OG do last night? OG only got, he didn't get double digits last night. He got 5 points last night. Seriously, he scored 5 points. And these Knicks fans are trying to tell me that he's had some sort of huge jump. Don't give me this crap. He got 5 points on 2 of 9 shooting, 5 rebounds, 4 steals. He's great defensively, but he was a minus 11, honestly. It was Mitchell Robinson, plus 19, man. He was having a huge impact for them. Rebounding and stealing the ball too, So man, OG got 5 points. What are y'all trying to tell me? OG's just magically better on the Knicks? Come on, man. He had 5 points last night. That's what I say to people. Smooth saying Bleacher Report is the worst NBA media regarding the Raptors. Nothing they say or propose I take seriously. Oh yeah, I wrote them off years and years ago. Years and years ago, I wrote off Bleacher Report. And as Stargate was saying, or I think it was Stargate, in the Discord server about Raptors Digest and Locked On Raptors. Both of those entities are a network with teams for all the teams, and they act the same way on both of them. Sean Woodley, Ben Rogers, they have people that are like them doing this, their channels, and Lakers Digest, Knicks Digest, and they do the same style of bullshit, just like Ben does for Raptors Digest. So I thought Raptors Digest for the longest time was just his own channel that he made up. But no, he's in a network with other people, and that definitely boosts him up a little bit. Maybe I need to make the Freak Network. I need to start finding diehard crazy fans like me and each fan nation and say, y'all need to make Freak channels, and we're going to do a Freak Network. Raptors Freak, Knicks Freak, Hornets Freak. Yeah, we're going to get all these Freak networks going. But yeah, Bleacher Report, I wrote them off a long, long time ago. Bleacher Report is not really a real journalistic entity. It's more about jokey, fun, goofy, satirical shit. And it's not really journalistic. Let's just put it that way. I've never thought of Bleacher Report as a good journalistic integrity kind of place. Let's just put it that way. Most saying W Stream, W Vibes, go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. Raptor Freak Crew, strong forever. Just helping me limit the comments. Yeah, I got an hour 20 on the clock. I still have time for calls. So if you want to call the number, if you have access to the phone number, please call in. I don't mind if you call. If you call in often, that doesn't matter either. I don't care if you're taking it or hogging it up. People can call as often as they want, because in some ways I'd rather have like regular personalities that are on the channel like Seymour all the time. Because we get to know people because we talk to them more. All right, this is gonna be interesting. I'm gonna do a classic card today that's very different than normal, because I pulled one that is not a normal card. This is the card, and this is why I'm gonna say this right now. This is weird. It's a team card. I can't say what is this on the card. What I'm going to do is this classic card has a list on the back of it, and it has a list of Celtics that played on this team on this year. And so I'm going to tell you the year, and you guys have to name as many of the names on the back of this card for that year that the Celtics were. And the year is, let me see. I got to see this. Hang on. I'm going to cover up the card just so I can see it on the screen a little bit better. Where is the year? The year is 1990, guys. So I want you guys to name Celtics from the year 1990 as much as possible. And what I'm going to do is I'll give how many are on there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 names on here. So we'll give out, let's say 50 points per name. So y'all, there's 11 Celtics on this list on the back of this card. Can you name 11 players from the 1990 Boston Celtics? Go. Full name answers. And if you can name most of them, we don't have to get the whole list. I'm going to give 50 points for each name that you guys get. That's right. That's right. Stargate saying it's a network. It's the exact same talking points and style, like down to cadence and everything. Yeah. Yeah, I believe that. Ala Abdel Nabi is not on this list, Stargate. So maybe we'll do a thing where you guys gotta like get strikes. If you get strikes, you don't get the answer anymore. And one per thing, so it can sort it out better. Reggie, you're gonna say Xavier McDaniel. Xavier McDaniel's not on this list. That's a strike. So you guys both have one strike. Get 3 strikes, you can't answer anymore. Brian Shaw. Brian Shaw is on this list. So you're going to get one right now. So you got Brian Shaw, and Reggie Lewis is on here also. So you got 2 of them. So Smooth's got 100 points so far. Rick Fox. Rick Fox is not on this list. So you're going to get a second strike, Stargate. The coach is on this list also. So if you can name the coach, you can get that. But Brian Shaw and Reggie Lewis are off the list. Smooth saying go Robert Parrish. Robert Parrish is on the list, Smooth. So you got another one. You only have 1 strike. So you got 3 and 1 strike. And Stargate's 0 for 2 so far. So yeah, some of these are really easy. Y'all should know who's on the Celtics in 1990. Hello, Robert Parrish. That's an easy one. There's easier ones than that. Come on now. Y'all know who's on here. So go ahead and get them. So yeah, this is interesting. Kevin McHale's another one. Yeah, Kevin McHale's on here. So Smooth, you'll get that one too. So you've got 4 so far. Larry Bird, go ahead. Yeah, take Larry Bird. He's on here. That's 5 for Smooth. So he's got 5 out of the 6 of them so far. There's still 6 names on here, including the coach. He's on here. Dennis Johnson. Man, you're out, Stargate. You've struck out. You've got 3 out. Dennis Johnson retired by now. Kevin Gamble is on the list. Reggie's going to get this one. Kevin Gamble is a scout for the Raptors. He's still a scout for the Raptors. He is on this list. So, man, you're cleaning up. You've got, what, 6 now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got 6 of the 11. You need 5 more. Can he complete it? Can you complete it? You only have 1 strike. And poor Stargate, he struck out on Ala Abdel Nabi, Rick Fox, and Dennis Johnson. Nobody else wants to play? Name the 1990 Boston Celtics off the Skybox card. Jimmy Rogers is the coach? Adriana. Interesting. No, Jimmy Rogers wasn't the coach at that time. You got a strike. Sorry. Well, how'd you know this? Adriana, are you cheating? Are you cheating somehow here? Let's see. Dino Raja. Dino Raja is not on here. That's your second strike. Tread lightly, Reggie. That's your second strike. Adriana, you got a strike for Jimmy Rogers. Jimmy Rogers was not the coach at this time. That's right. He is not the coach. Rude. Oh, what are you talking about, Rude? You're playing classic card. The rules are mine. Adriana. Jimmy Rogers was a coach of the Boston Celtics at one point, but he wasn't this year in 1990. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. So, yeah, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 names on here. Now, I'm going to give you guys guesses here. Fiercey. Yeah, where's Fiercey? Where's Fiercey? All right. Okay. One of the names on here is the first Raptor who ever touched the basketball in the NBA. One of the names on here is the first ever Toronto Raptor to touch a basketball in an NBA game. That is a name on this list. If you know who that player is, you can get one of the players off here. AC Earl is wrong. You're out. You're out. And nobody else is going to guess. Adriana, you still get 2 more strikes if you want to continue to play. But Reggie's out now. He got 6 of them. AC Earl is not the name. It was the different Raptor who played for the Celtics that was on our team that did the jump ball, the very first jump ball. Stargate, you know who it is. He knows who he is, but he's out. Nobody else wants to play? Nobody else wants to play the classic card? Team classic card? This is crazy. I was wondering if we were going to get one of these, and, well, we got one right away. So nobody, you know who it is. He knows who that person is. The first Raptor ever touched the ball. All right, G's in. He's got the coach. Chris Ford is the coach. So G will get the points on that. G, continue to play. Yeah, I want to see you try and get these. Yeah. Yeah. Who is the person who touched the ball first in the Raptors history at the jump ball against the New Jersey Nets in 1995 season? Who was the first Raptor to ever touch the ball? Also, I would say one of the names on here, Rogers is not right. John Tabaka is not right. It's not right. Neither one of those is right. I would say that one of the names on this list is I'm going to figure it out. Alvin Robertson was trivia. No, Alvin Robertson's not right. You're strike 2, Adriana. Monique has a strike and Seymour has a strike. Rasho Nesterovic strike 2 for Seymour Pape. No, this player played for the Celtics. He started for the Celtics, and he also did the jump ball for the Raptors in the first ever Raptor game. And that is the player that I want from that. Also, there's a player on here that how do I do this one? This clue. I don't know. These bit players may be harder to get, these last couple bit players. But you guys did good, man. You got most of the card. We may close it soon, though. All right. One of these players was a backup point guard. And his last name's the same as a current player with the name Marvin in the league right now. That may help you. And then one of these players is a backup center from this University of Arkansas. University of Arkansas. Yeah, G saying it's hard for me to play like that, usually driving or meetings, but try to at least be a spoiler. There you go. I like that. So you got 1 and G's got 6. And we still have 5 names on the list, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 names on the list still. Yeah, so that's right, because there's 11. Yeah, we still need the first ever player to touch the ball. Criscom's got the last name, but we don't half-ass. If somebody wants to seagull Criscom right now, you're welcome to. You got a full name answer. Because he's got the last name. It's not spelled right, but it's mostly right. Now, who was the backup center for the Celtics that went to Arkansas? He's a big, huge white guy with red hair. If you can figure that one out, he's one of them on here. And then also there was a white guy who was on the end of the bench on this team, and he had one of the most generic names in the whole entire world. Last name and first names. Oliver Miller's wrong. You're out, Seymour. You have struck out. Gee, you don't want to take any more guesses? Nobody wants to take any more guesses? Criscom has half of one of the guesses. That's right. It's just that he knows it's Marvin Bagley, but he doesn't know the Bagley that played for the Celtics at this time. That's easy seagull right there. You know what? I'm going to call it, guys. You guys are kind of struggling here, but I feel like y'all did pretty good. You got 7 out of the 11 names. So there's 4 that you didn't get. And the 4 are John Bagley was the name, John Bagley. And you needed that John to get the points. Joe Klein is the center from Arkansas. Joe Klein. Yeah. Brian Scalabrini didn't play back then, Monique. It's not Brian Scalabrini. Joe Klein is the backup redheaded center. Also, Ed Pickney is the Raptor. Ed Pickney. You're too late, G. I already named it. You got to hit live. You're too late. You got to come back sooner. I already said John Bagley, so it's too late. Ed Pickney is the Raptor that did the jump ball in the very first Raptor game ever. Ed Pickney. And then finally, the generic name is Michael Smith. They had Michael Smith. So y'all didn't get John Bagley, Joe Klein, Ed Pickney, and Michael Smith. But you got the rest of them. And 6 of them are going to go to Reggie, and 1 will go to G. G will get 1 of them. So I'm going to remember that, and I'll keep tab of that. So it's kind of a weird card. We will get more of these. There will be other team cards that are like this. So be ready for these just in case. But yeah, here's the back of the card right here. John Bagley, Larry Bird, Kevin Gamble, Joe Klein, Reggie Lewis, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, Ed Pickney, Brian Shaw, which was one of the first guesses, which is impressive, Michael Smith, and Chris Ford was the coach. Yeah, there you go. Boom goes the dynamite. All right, there's a classic card. That's a weird format. I don't know. I kind of liked it. It's a little bit harder to do because there's way more names on it. So, yeah. All right, let's keep going with the stream. Let's see what's up. Anybody want to call me on Maluach at this point? Last chance to get your phone call in. If you want to call me on the Thursday Think Tank call-in show, you got to call me now because I'm going to wrap things up right now. Right now, I'm going to wrap them up. So, yeah, let's see. Khaman is from Sudan. Khaman is 7'2". Khaman is a project on offense. He's not necessarily a project on defense, but he's a project on offense. I like him. I think that we could get him and he'd be smart. You can't teach height. He's 7'2". He'd be very, very helpful in the worlds of Victor and Chet that we're going into. And the NBA is only getting bigger and taller and stuff like that. So in some ways, we need to supplement our centers. In some ways, Jakob Poeltl is, he's still young. He can play for us for a while still. But in some ways, we want to have that center project coming up underneath him. to take over as a starting center eventually for Jakob Poeltl. So I say go ahead and get him now, especially if we're going to get a high lottery pick. We don't always get high lottery picks. If we go to the playoffs next year, we may not be getting another high lottery pick for a while. So it may be really worth it to spend the high lottery value on size. And I'm saying Khaman Maluach is the biggest player in this draft coming out. That's the best, the biggest and the best player. That's right. So yeah, you were behind in the stream. Yeah, you got hit live. You got hit live. Yeah, you knew it was John Bagley. Yeah, it's too bad you were behind. You could have got them points. That's right. All right. So yeah, I approve of drafting Khaman. If the Raptors are going to draft him in this summer, I'll be very happy with that. Didn't seem like anybody had much to say about it against him. 95% of you guys saying in the chat that you would like the Raptors to draft him. Only one person, it looks like, voted no. So, yeah, that's pretty good. 95% of y'all saying, ending the poll right now. That's pretty good. Adrian said, I tried to call, but it can't be completed. I want an apology. You want an apology? What do you mean it can't be completed? All right, hang on. Hang on. You want to call me? I'll call you. How about that? Here, we'll see what she has to say. Since she's saying she tried to call. 7'2" is insane. Yeah. Let's see if she answers.
Yes, you called me a cheater. Rude.
I called you a cheater. Why? Because I thought you Googled Jimmy Rogers. I know you don't know anything about Jimmy Rogers and Boston Celtics. So you obviously Googled that.
Maybe I had a question in trivia before, and I got it right before when I was playing this stupid game with epilepsy. So excuse me, bite me.
You get the feistiness of Adriana here. Okay, so I
had feisty because you called me a cheater.
You had a question on your epilepsy trivia night about Jimmy Rogers being a coach of the Celtics.
Yes, because there's some stupid sports theme thing.
Really? Okay. All right. Well, I apologize. I humbly apologize to you, Adriana. You are not a cheater. I apologize for this. I just say it's so out of the blue. Like I was expecting all these answers from everybody, and then you put in like Jimmy Rogers. Like, whoa, Adriana knows who Jimmy Rogers is. Do you even know what he looks like?
I have absolutely no clue. I got that question wrong.
He's weird. He's like very pale, and he had like really weird like white hair around his head. He kind of looked like a salamander. So it's like, yeah, Jimmy Rogers. Yeah, they had a couple of coaches around that time for the Celtics. They had Casey Jones, they had Jimmy Rogers, they had Chris Ford, which was the right answer. Well, I apologize for calling you a cheater. I didn't realize that you had Boston Celtics trivia questions on your trivia night. I did not realize that.
Yes, well, it's not nice that you call me a cheater because I would never call anybody a cheater.
All right. Okay. I apologize, Adriana. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Nope. That's it. Just to say hi to everybody.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Let's go Raptors.
Yep. Bye.
All right. Bye. All right. Yeah. Maybe I was in a little bit of trouble. She didn't like that I called her a cheater. I really honestly didn't think that she would know that. She knew that from epilepsy trivia. Okay. All right. I apologize. I really do. I really do feel bad about that. That's mad tall, 7'2", Khaman Maluach. That's right. Somebody in trouble. Yeah. Yeah, he's a white guy with an afro. Yeah, Jimmy Rogers had some weird hair, man. Really weird hair. Yeah. Yeah, Adrienne has a very competitive nature with trivia. Like, she wins her trivia every week. Like, Tuesday nights, like, the trivia person, like, in some ways, it was kind of like how I had to treat Amit the GOAT. Like, she's so overpoweringly good at it. And in some ways, they're just trying to give a chance to the other people that play trivia. And, like, the person who runs the trivia is kind of like sometimes, okay, it kind of doesn't like call on Adriana sometimes, and she knows it because she's that good, but she usually wins anyway. So it's like she's just a trivia master. I tell her all the time, is like, we need to go to trivia nights in Toronto and just mop the floor with everybody, because between your knowledge and my knowledge, we would just kill it. That's right. Trivia masters. That's right. That's right. Most saying Oliver Ryu in Canada basketball under 18 training camp. Yeah. Speaking of tall, speaking of very, very tall, this is a big, big deal because he's a big deal. He's 7'9". You used to talk about 7'2". 7'5" went Victor. 7'9". What are they putting in the water in Montreal that Oliver Ryu would grow to be 7'9"? The Florida Gator finishing his freshman year at Florida. And well, he's at camp for our under team for Team Canada. That's fantastic. You think it's awesome that Team Canada has a 7'9" young prospect coming up? I think it's awesome. Oh, yeah, I do. Mo, thanks for bringing that up. I totally forgot about the Oliver Ryu is at under 18 training camp right now. That's fantastic. I love it. Adriana saying, I'm feisty. Sorry. Kepra rage, even though not on Kepra. Okay. It's okay. It's all right. Just be you. It's fun. It's entertaining. They don't mind you giving me a little shit. I mean, seriously. And somebody's, oh, Lex is a doghouse. He's in trouble now. You know, that kind of stuff. It is what it is. You know, it is real. That's what it is. That's right. Stargate saying, any bets on who is going to be at the lottery repping the Raps? There's a lot of people speculating this. I never thought that these were things that people really talked about, but I guess we're bored. Like, who's going to be at the lottery? Who's going to do the address to the crowd in the last game of the season? Jamal Shed. You know, it's like we're wondering about these roles. I don't think it'll be front office. I think they'll send a player. They might send Jamal Shed. Why not? Just send Jamal Shed or Jacoby. Send one of the rookies. Scotty's already gone, so I don't think Scotty will go. Although if you do see Scotty going, that's a big deal. That means that Scotty likes going because he already went. You know, it could be Emmanuel. Would it be RJ? I don't know. It's really like, in some ways, it's not really important. They could send Grady Dick and just have him sitting there and just be like smiling and like, Grady. I don't know. In some ways, the way they do this is, who's the most lucky person around the Raptors right now? Maybe they go do the luck standings within the Raptors organization. Masai's like gets everybody in the room. And says, all right, who's been winning in life? Who's winning? Who's lucky? Who's been finding money in places and having good things happen in different ways? I want you to go lottery. Isn't that? It's like they're going to do the luck standings in the Raptors franchise and say, who's the luckiest person in the franchise right now? You know, we're sending you. I'm the towel person. Yeah, but you're so lucky. You just won the lottery, a Lotto Max. And we're sending you because you just won the lottery. I'm just the towel person. I'm the person who mops the floor with the thing. Oh, yeah, we're going to send you because you're just lucky. I don't know. That's the way I would do it right there, man. That's what I would do. It's Stargate saying, I say RJ. You say RJ. Seymour saying Scotty or Jacoby, third pick, Grady. Scotty's already gone. We have to understand, Scotty has attended the lottery for the Raptors in the past already. If he goes again, that means he liked it. He enjoyed doing it. So that could happen. I could see that. Maybe Jacoby. Yeah, Jacoby would be fun with his short hair. Let's see. G saying that's why he's probably still in Toronto, handling with the front office. Yeah. You know what I would say? These guys are not still in Toronto just for that reason. These guys are just in Toronto because they like being here and they're training. You know, think about this. The Raptors have the OVO Center. Sure, our players can go and work out in San Francisco, Jonathan Mobo, Houston, Jamal Shed. Scotty went down to FSU for graduation last weekend. I'm sure he put in some time with the FSU alumni and their facilities at Florida State. The thing is, some of these guys, they love the OVO Center and the way it is and the food and the weight training, the staff that's there always for them. And so they know in some ways it's best to just stay in-house and stay here. And once again, I'll say the weather in Toronto just got really, really good as soon as the season ended. And so, I mean, it's not like it's tough to be in Toronto right now because of the weather. So I think a lot of these guys do hang out throughout the whole summer in Toronto longer than you think. In the past, maybe Amir Johnson hung out and went to Canada's Wonderland all the time. But a lot of the players would go home and be away from Toronto the whole entire offseason. Those days are over. These players are more committed to off-season work and getting themselves better and being connected to Coach Darko, his staff, and the front office and the facilities, that they're hanging around and lingering around Toronto in the offseason a lot more than ever in the 30 years of the Raptors right now. So I'm not shocked that Jacoby Walter might be still in Toronto right now or any of the other Raptors, because OVO Center is a fantastic facility that they want to utilize because they know they do the work, they put in the time, and they get better. They're going to get better contracts down the road. So I think that's what it is right there. Monique wants IQ to go to the draft lottery. That's not a bad pick. That's not a bad pick. I'd like to see that too. Yeah, all good choices. Exactly. Maybe Grady. Everyone picking somebody different. Yeah. What if it's Ulrich Shamshay? That'd be fun. Just have Shamshay sit there, smile, and be like, "Yeah, I'm Shamshay. I was supposed to be in this draft, but Masai jumped in line and picked me at the end of the draft. He paid $1 million to Memphis to make it happen." You know what I'm saying? Randolph's saying, Lex, I need someone of strong faith to represent us on Monday and will us to the best and most favorable positional outcome. So there you go. Okay, IQ's a good choice then. Jacoby's a good choice. Grady's a good choice. These are all strong men of faith. Very, very, very close with their relationship with Christ. So yeah, any of those three would be good. Scotty's good in this department too. Jonathan Mobo, another one. You know, RJ also. You know, it's a very common trait amongst our Raptors right now to be very, very close to Jesus. And yeah, I mean, even Chris Boucher has gotten very religious in his posts recently. That's for sure. Yeah, Stargate saying Amir and Mo Pete used to stay here a lot. Yeah, Amir never left Toronto. He like the whole time he played for Toronto, he stayed here during the summer. He didn't go back to LA. He never hardly ever went home. He just stayed here and hung out. He liked it here. And yeah, Mo Pete was another guy. Yeah. You want IQ to be there too. Okay, so we got some good picks for IQ. Yeah, Chris comes saying, put me there. I'll get number one pick. Just kidding. That'd be fun. It'd be funny. And that'd be weird. It's like Chris comes a Raptors fan. He won this contest. He's representing the Raptors at the draft lottery. That would be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. I hope you name drop us if you got there, man. But I'm with you, man. Getting a man of God to rep. That's all I need. Hey, we just want that luck, that good luck, like Dan Gilbert got for a couple of years there, going in there and getting the first pick for Cleveland over and over again for a little while there. Yeah, you know, some of that Orlando Magic luck at the very beginning of their franchise when they got Penny Hardaway and Shaquille O'Neal. Yeah, they got really good draft luck early on. That's right. Bring a lucky coin. Monique's saying, bring that lucky coin. All right. Being strong of faith doesn't always have to mean Christian. That's true too. I agree with that. I agree with that completely. And often people that sometimes put that stuff on their sleeve are not. That's totally a front in some ways. It's not totally really who they are. They're just using it as a shield. Yeah, there's real Christians and people that it's in the act. It's not in the proclamation. It's in the act. How do you act? Do you act Christian? Well, then you're Christian. If you proclaim you're Christian, but then you do things that harm everybody else, you're not a Christian, MAGA. That's what I'll say right there. You're not Christian when you do that. No, you don't. That's right. All right, let me see. Wow, I'm getting closer to 2 hours after all. I didn't think I would. All right, well, let's just wrap it up. We've had some couple of interesting calls today. I appreciate Seymour and Adriana calling me today. I hope everybody has a great Thursday, and I'll be back tomorrow for the Friday Freakout. Let's see what I'm freaking out about tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. on the Raptor Freak channel. I appreciate everybody. Let's go Raptors. Let's go Toronto Tempo. We're 1 year away coming from the WNBA inclusion of the Toronto Tempo. It's going to be awesome, man. Stargate saying, what I'm saying is that faith is not exclusive to Christian religion. Oh, for sure. For sure. Muslim, Jewish, you know, there's all kinds of different religions. And even if you're not actually in an organized religion, you can be very spiritual and have strong faith and luck also. I completely agree with this. And I appreciate that. It's just that in this channel, I know that are mostly Christian here. And that's why maybe I'll portray it in that way to this audience. But I completely agree. That there's luck in any religion that's out there. We could send anybody there that has that for sure. All right, y'all. Let me get out of here as I ramble on and on for no reason. Good job, Knicks. 1 point victory over Celtics. That's hilarious. SGA, Thunder. Yeah. Y'all came with the cane back. That's for sure. And, well, Khaman Maluach. I like this kid. And if we get the 7'2" Duke center and the Raptors draft lottery pick, I won't be unhappy. We'll do another think tank in the next couple of weeks on other very prominent priority possible Raptors possible in the draft that we might draft, like Khaman. So, you know, maybe next week we're going to do Derek Queen. And I'll go a little more in depth on him and talking about the whole things about what we see with that. All right. Thanks again, guys. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's go Raptors. Let's go Leafs. Let's go Jets. And let's go Toronto Tempo and Team Canada basketball. Let's go Raptors. Let's go Raptors. Let's go.